A testing 1, 2, 3. Testing. Hello. Let me see here. Okay. This is first time input USB. Okay. All right. Let's see if that's any better. Hello. 1, 2, 3. Well, I uh, I know it's kind of late, but I just wanted to test this and see how it does. Um, I'm watching congressional hearing on YouTube, and they are discussing um, reapportionment. So what they're saying is basically the Democrats, their their desire ultimately is to allow um, illegal aliens to be counted in to a uh, congressional district so that they can also vote. The Republicans are trying to block it, and this is something everybody needs to get a handle on, like real quick, because this could uh, this could upset the apple cart big time. So the uh, the ranking member, which is the Democrat Jamie Raskin from Maryland, um, he basically stated something about like a requirement. They they went a little off cue, and something about like the requirement. They were talking about the founding fathers and the requirement in order to be president. And he said something you just have to be uh, a naturalized citizen. That's that's not true at all. Um, in 2008, um, I was working with some attorneys that were challenging, uh, if you recall, Barack Obama's citizenship. And I spent a great deal of time and effort totally researching that. And the guy that I found that made the best argument was Leo D'Onofrio. Um, at the time, I was working with Steve Pigeon out of, I believe Steve was out of Washington State, and Philip Berg um, out of Pennsylvania. And they couldn't get the Supreme Court to bite on it because the Supreme Court said they didn't have standing. And these cases were actually brought against Secretary of State. So the uh, the case Phil Berg brought was challenging the Secretary of State of New Jersey. I believe it was Jersey or Pennsylvania, one of the two. I think it was Jersey. That uh, since the states uh, have control over the ballots, they also have to qualify uh, candidates on the ballot. So the whole thing was a challenge to Barack Obama's status. Um, Now, in the Constitution, the three requirements to be president of the United States is you must be at least the age of 35. You must have resided in the United States for, I believe it's 14 years. It's either 7 or 14. I'm pretty sure it's 14. And this is the biggie, you have to be a natural born citizen. So these cases were challenging Barack Obama as not being a natural born citizen. So let me address this first, and then I'll get back to what the critters are doing in DC. Um, do you remember 20, I'm going to say 2015, 2014, in that time frame, Donald Trump was asking for Barack Obama's birth certificate because he jumped on board that train. Um, Here's the thing, you don't need Barack Obama's birth certificate. Don't need it at all. And I'll explain why. In the in the Constitution, the founding fathers uh, put the requirement of natural born citizen. Now, where they got that from was from D. Vattel. D. Vattel wrote Laws of Nature. And D. Vattel in the Laws of Nature define natural born citizen as any person born in the United States to citizen parents. The emphasis is on parents, as in plural, as in not just a mom, but a dad. So it's what we used to call blood and dirt. You had to have, you had to be born on U.S. soil, and it had to be to citizen parents. That was the requirement. And I believe there was a Supreme Court interpretation back in the 1800s. There was an opinion written basically echoing the same thing that the framers had echoed. And the biggest mistake that people make in government is when they cite the Constitution or they talk about the founding fathers, you have to recall that at that time when they were drafting the Constitution, which, you know, one of the parameters that they set for themselves was to make a document that was no longer than about a page and can be read by anybody in basic English. It was not it was not ever designed to be some, large multi-page document that got into all the details. To get that, you have to find out what the intent of the founding fathers was, and you get that, and I've done this over the years. You've got to read their letters. You've got to read the Federalist Papers and the Anti-Federalist Papers, and they were clearly intending natural born citizen to be exactly what was defined in Laws of Nature. Now, in the case of John McCain, okay, I'm an ex Navy guy. I'm not going to rag on McCain. Okay, the man's dead. I'm not going to rag on him. Um, John McCain was born in a civilian hospital in Panama, and both his parents were there, but he was born in a civilian hospital in Panama instead of on the Navy base in Panama. If he had been on the Navy base, he would have been technically on U.S. soil because that is, you know, that is considered, U.S. soil, one of our foreign bases. And I know this to be true because prior to I think it was the '08 election, the Senate, uh, led by Senators Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, uh, got a Senate resolution through the Senate that basically gave John McCain natural born status, natural born citizen. Well, the funny thing is the way law works is statutes and resolutions and stuff like that do not change uh something that has already been part of our law for a couple hundred years. So a statute or just a stroke of a pen does not make it so. Um, they could have, they could have went to the Lincoln Memorial and drafted that Senate resolution and used the pen that maybe one of the founding fathers used. And still, does not give McCain natural born status. And this is how I know that John McCain was not a natural born citizen is because he needed his friends in the Senate to do that resolution. I believe it was House Resolution number 8. I haven't looked at it for a long time, but I believe that's what it was. Now, let's get to Obama. Obama is not a natural born citizen and should not have been qualified. Now, let me let me qualify that by saying there was nobody or nothing that was going to stop the first black president. Again, I'm not ragging on Obama. It's to me, it's not a black or white issue. What we have here is Barack Obama had an American mother, okay, in Hawaii, and he had a Kenyan father over in Africa. And when Obama was born in 1961, his father, again, was Kenyan. And in 1961, Kenya was a protectorate or a colony of Great Britain. So in 1961, when Barack Obama was born, when you research the citizenship laws of Great Britain, of the Crown, it says that any child born uh, of a male British subject automatically have British citizenship. So what that means is when Barack Obama was born in 1961, he was automatically given British citizenship and doing hours and hours and hours and hours of research. Believe me when I tell you, I spent a lot of time on these cases. We could not locate where Barack Obama rescinded his British citizenship. Now, if you recall, the founding fathers deliberately put that in there because they had just completed the revolution with Great Britain, the war, against Great Britain for our independence. So the founding fathers put that language in the Constitution to prevent somebody running for president that would have dual allegiances. Okay. So, for example, if Barack Obama was running in, you know, the late 1700s or early 1800s, it would have automatically have been put down because we had just come out of the War for Independence and the War of 1812. The last thing that the founders would have wanted was somebody that was born with British citizenship. That's the reason why they put the NBC requirement in the Constitution. So, what that means is we don't need his birth certificate. Don't need it. His mother could have given birth to him on the steps of the U.S. Capitol, draped in American flags, and maybe a red, white, and blue placenta. It doesn't matter. He cannot be a natural born citizen. Now, his mother can confer citizenship on him when he, you know, is here in the United States because she was at that time she was a citizen of the United States, but that's just naturalized. That's not that's not natural born. And the other confusion is that people were confusing natural born with native born. Native born just means that you were somebody that was born in the US. It's not natural born. It's different. So anyway, what Congress is doing, what the liberals are doing, is um, they're trying to do redistricting. Okay, and I think mainly in the red states. What they're doing is they're trying to um, take, like, for example, let's take Austin. Okay, Austin, Texas is a prime example. Now, Austin, Texas is, I mean, it's it's like mini California. I mean, it's blue. I mean, blue. And what they're looking to do is they're looking to expand the congressional districts that include Austin and the surrounding communities around it that are red. And they're also trying to have it so that illegal aliens are able to vote because they don't call them illegals, they call them undocumented workers. Okay. Um, so, basically at this point, that's what Congress is up to. I just wanted to jump in. This is my first live, whatever thingy. And I know it's late at night, but I just wanted to give it a try. Um, for 7 months, I've been battling atrial flutter. Um, Anybody out there, if you're watching this, if you have like a high heart rate, um, that's a very serious problem. And one day I woke up, it was mid October. I woke up and my heart was just like, going like, real fast. And I went down to the clinic down here and they put me on a heart monitor and I was banging 220. So my heart rate was 220 beats per minute. And they said to me, "You're going to the hospital. We're calling the ambulance right now." So the ambulance showed up. They put me in the ambulance. Uh, the driver was a female, nice lady, and the male was the EMT in the back. And he said, because they were hauling ass. I mean, that she was hauling ass driving that ambulance. And I'm like, "Yo, what's going on?" He's like, "Well," he says, "we get quite a lot of calls, but we don't get anything as bad as this." what do you mean as bad? So I'm starting to go, all right, what the hell's going on here? So he tried two attempts of some kind of drug that is supposed to reset the heart rate. Um, it hurt like hell in the chest when it went in. I can't remember the name of it. It started with an E something. I can't remember. Two attempts, they both failed. Then he got on the radio with the ER and asked to do cardizem, and they turned it down. They said just get me to the hospital. So they got me there pretty quick, and they hit me with cardizem, and I was able to get the heart rate. They were able to get it down into the 120s. Um, so I'm in the ICU, stabilizing, and then I get transported up to another hospital to get the procedures done. So they put a stent in. They were also supposed to do a heart ablation at that time, but they didn't do it. I don't know why. So after the stent went in, basically they found an 80% blockage, put a stent in there. So they have the cardiologist. They have two types. They have the plumber and the electrician. So the plumber, he went in, put the stent in. The electrician, he was supposed to do the ablation. Um, Fast forward, I'm back in the hospital around Thanksgiving. At that time, they did I think, a cardioversion, which is a shock. Um, they shock the heart to try to get it back in the sinus rhythm. That didn't work. Um, Early December, uh, they did a live echo, and they saw a lot of fluid around the heart, and it's pericardial or pericardial effusion, I think is what it's called. Anyway, they made an appointment for me to go outpatient. They were going to drain that fluid. I get up there, they hook me up to a live, EKG, and or a live echo cardiogram, and they said, "Oh, well, we're gonna have to abort because it looks like the fluid went down." I'm like, "Okay, that's good, right? Yeah, that's good. Okay." Next day after, my heart rate's still bad. So, just to make a long story short, I finally was able to get the heart ablation last month, and it it didn't actually kick in. It took about a week or so, and I was really getting aggravated because here I was, you know, watching my heart rate. I got a Apple smartwatch, one of them, and it has like the thing in there where it takes your heart rate. It greatest greatest watch I've ever had, and eventually it got to the point where he was going to do another cardio version, the electrician. It was set up for a day. I had to fast the night before and get up there early in the morning. You know, I get there and I'm noticing I'm feeling really good. Like, my heart rate feels good. And I looked at my watch and yeah, I was like in the 60s. I'm like, okay. So I started pacing back and forth there, in the registration area of the hospital just to see if I can get the heart rate up. They put me in the cath lab to get me prepped, and they ran all the tests, did blood work, blah 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 blah. So long story short, electrician comes in. He says, uh, "I'm going to abort this procedure because you're fine." And ever since then, my heart rate's been resting heart rate's been in the 60s, and I can get it into the 80s by you know getting a little active and doing things. So again, it was called atrial flutter. It was a high heart rate, rapid heart rate. If you know anybody, or if you have this yourself, you know, believe me when I tell you, it's nasty. It's the worst feeling in the world. Um, when that heart is just going like that, it's just like you when it finally comes down, the heart rate finally comes down. Like they taught me how to like clench my, oh boy, how do I put this so that it's PG-17? Like you're gonna take a poop. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta, really bear down, and that seemed to get it down for me. And then after you get the heart rate back down, to around 100 or whatever, from 180, um, then you start sweating and you're exhausted. You're just absolutely exhausted. So, look for the signs. And if you have any questions about that whole rigmarole, just leave it here on the video and I'll be sure to answer whatever I can answer. So, thanks for anybody out there watching. And I'm going to try to do these more often because there's a lot of things going on and there's a lot of things coming down the pike. And I think we're going to be doing this a little more often. I'm also going to be doing, now I got, like I said, now I'm feeling great. I could start doing the other, like the wind turbine and other prepping type videos. So just keep an eye out on things. If you want to subscribe, go ahead. If you want to, just like the videos, check out the videos I have on the channel. That would be great. Um, Again, I want to thank everybody out there. I want to thank all the subscribers for hanging in there, and I'm going to try to put up more, fresh content. So thanks everybody, and I hope this live stream actually worked. So we'll find out. Take care, yo. How you doing?